Hey, we're talking today about how to break bad habits, how to use psychology to break bad habits, to get yourself out of the rut that you may find yourself in, where you're just kind of spinning your wheels and you feel like you're stuck, you feel like you're trapped, you feel like you're kind of the victim of your subconscious mind because you're doing the same things all the time and it's making you feel stuck and trapped and you don't want to live that way, right? Okay, so let's talk about how to break your bad habits so you can get what you want. All right, let me share just an interesting thing that I just learned about. They say that we have between 12 and 60,000 thoughts a day. It's a lot of thoughts, right? But the interesting thing about it is that we have or that 95% of those thoughts we had yesterday and the day before that and the day before that, and they are repetitive thoughts that we think all the time. And they also say that we have that about 80% of our thoughts are negative. And so you can kind of see, I mean, if that just kind of gives you this visual of this squirrel cage that you're in, you know, this invisible turnstile where you're feeling stuck, you're feeling trapped, you're going, why is life not different for me? It's the same, I'm stuck. That's what's going on, is your thinking. And so if your thinking is what is keeping you stuck, well, that's where we use psychology to break ourselves out of that. So let me just share a few things that I have discovered, and hopefully this will help you. Now, the first thing is you want to really get awareness. So when you find yourself feeling stuck, feeling trapped, feeling like, you know, whatever you're doing, it's just, you're not going anywhere, you're not getting out of it. That's when you realize, hey, this is telling me something that can be helpful for me. Something that can get me out of these fail patterns and into something more constructive. So anyway, it identifies that there is a problem. So awareness is really the first thing that you want to get when you recognize that these things are happening over and over again. And maybe you already know what your bad habits are. Maybe that's not the problem, is you recognize exactly what your bad habits are. But there are three things that you need to use. Three things that you need to use in order to get out of this. And it's what you want to do is you want to develop a skill. And with a skill, it starts out with a lot of work, like like my kid, my youngest is learning to drive right now, and so there's a lot of concentration that needs to happen as he's got both hands on the wheel and he's learning to turn and keep it in the lanes and all that stuff and parallel park. But also, like, I have a manual transmission. I'm going to add that to the mix too, to where he has to learn how to clutch and shift and all that stuff. And it's a lot to process. But after you've been doing it for a while, it's this subconscious thing that you don't even think about. You hit your blinker when you're turning right. You hit it the other way when you're turning left. You know exactly when to apply the brake and how much pressure to do. Even parallel parking, as difficult as it first was when you were first doing it, you don't even think much about it when you're doing it every day. So just like that, you can use these psychology things. You can develop skills to get yourself over these bad habits that really start out as this mental mindset kind of thing. So anyway, I'm going to share with you two things. I'm going to share with you, first of all, that you need to identify the triggers that are causing you to behave badly, to do these habits that you want to get rid of. Okay, so so for me, like, I find that when I get discouragement, I wouldn't call it depression because that sounds too much like a medical condition, but when things don't go quite right and I find myself spiraling down, one of the things I find myself doing is self-medicating with food. I think I have a food addiction to where, I mean, ice cream, isn't ice cream a great thing when you're feeling down? And then that kind of cycles around. Then you feel bad about yourself and you feel like I'm overweight, and it just causes these repeated fail patterns. But what you need to do is find out what's the trigger, what is starting this, and then when that trigger happens, that's when you intervene with your psychology. Okay? Does that make sense to you? Have you already kind of processed that you already know what bad habits you were looking to get out of, or what things you want to use to change in your life so that you feel more in control, so that you have more direction in your life? You already got that? Okay, so when you have the trigger happen, what I want you to figure out is, I want you to figure out a counter to it. And that's going to be, and I want you to use this as a prompt. So when you have something negative happen to you that is going to trigger, like I told you a little bit about, maybe discouragement for me is going to trigger that. Well, what I can do is I can quickly intervene and recognize, wait a second, it's countermeasure time, and maybe what I need to do is I need to read some of my affirmations, some of my positive statements, positive truths, or my favorite truths that I like to say. Maybe I need to do some meditation. Maybe I need to use my app, Feed Your Happy app, to program your mind to really focus on what's going right in your life. Maybe I need to grab my gratitude journal and boost my gratitude levels. Whatever you find is triggering you, you want to really quickly counteract that by adding a prompt. Does that make sense to you? So, and maybe you can make it a statement. Okay, so anyway, those are kind of how to get rid of some bad habits. Maybe your thing is mindset. Maybe you're doing a lot of negative self-talk and negative chatter. So what I do for that, so again, you want to create a prompt, you want to create some other action that is going to counter or some other activity that's going to counter the negativity that you're talking about. So when I start having negative mind chatter, I will say, my negative self-talk says, and then I will just state it. So often the negativity that comes up, like it almost, when you say it, it's almost like shining light on it. My negative self-talk tells me I'm going to miss that free throw. What? I'm not going to miss that free throw. My negative self-talk tells me I'm not going to get that contract. Wait, that's thinking against me. Whatever it is for you, that's going through your mind. And then what you want to do is you want to counter it and say, wait, my powerful self-talk tells me I've practiced this shot. My powerful self-talk tells me I am prepared for this contract. My powerful self-talk tells me I am the best person for the job. Whatever it is you want to counter with your statements, do a physical action that really brings light on that. Does that make sense to you? So anyway, you can use psychology to get rid of these bad habits, because at the core of all the bad habits is thinking, is thought processes and core stories that we tell about ourselves that are keeping us stuck. So anyway, hopefully that helps you with whatever bad habits you are looking to get rid of, and hopefully it gives you some ideas so that you can take full control and responsibility for your life. What can you add? Now, are you ready to join the conversation? Are you willing to add your voice, your thoughts, your ideas, your impressions? If so, add them in the comment section below. We need your voice. Now, if you have been inspired to take action, don't let an impression slip by. Train yourself to listen to and follow your inner voice. Of course, the best place to take action is at scottwilhite.com, because if you join me for a free web class, you will receive a copy of my Purpose Planner, the tool you've been missing that will help you uncover your purpose. You can totally do this. Your roots produce your fruits. Choose your beliefs and pick your identity. It is choice, not chance, that determines your reality. See you next time.